Hey guys, Woods Farm here, Project 222. This is episode 21. Today we're going to be doing some more fabricating, particularly up on the front of the vehicle. We're going to be working on the hood and the nose plates. Going to get those cut out and welded in place. That's the job for today. Okay, so on second thought, I'm not going to go back and make any adjustments. I had my wife and my son out here yesterday looking at it. My wife has a very good eye for this kind of thing, and neither one of them could notice anything obvious. And, you know, I went back, checked a lot of the angles, and honestly, everything is within a degree or two. So I think it's really not worth the effort to go back and make these minor adjustments at this point. You know, another thing I did, I'm just kind of driving myself crazy at this point, but I went ahead and made a whole series of gauges or templates based on the driver's side. And I took all these angled gauges and used them to compare on the passenger side, and everything is within a hair. I mean, it's very minor. The differences or any discrepancies. So I think what's happening is there's kind of maybe an optical illusion to some degree. With all the compound angles and maybe it being slightly at a square, I think what happens is it kind of magnifies, you know, those little discrepancies a little bit. And ultimately I'm just being overly critical. I think once the fenders get put on this thing, you know, the visors, all the accoutrements, headlights, it is going to be extremely difficult for anybody to notice that, you know, it might not be perfectly symmetrical. So at this point, we're going to go forward, and I'm not going to play around with making any more adjustments. Okay, first things first, I've got to trim this plate just a little bit. It's about 1/4 inch too long. Now I'm just going to clean up the edge there with the flap disc, get it ready for welding. Here's the cardboard pattern for the hood. Transfer that over. Now I'm going to cut. Decided to try the big Dewalt. It's giving me some problems today. I was having difficulty seeing the line because of the sparks. A little more light. Didn't seem to help that much though. Oh! And yeah, I set myself on fire. That big grinder throws a lot of sparks, and yeah, burnt through my coveralls and my pants. Just cleaning up the edge now. Okay, so we're going to fit this hood piece, see how good it fits in place there. It's 1/4 inch, it's pretty heavy. Not bad. And then I'm starting to pattern out the nose. Here's a little odd job that I had to finish up. I moved out that support, and it was just on the edge of the frame, so I wanted to close it in. Had to cut out a little piece to fit in there. Just got to trim it up, get it to fit just right. Clean all the edges, get ready for welding. These magnets come in handy. This was an awkward place to work. I probably should have taken the tire off, but I got lazy and decided to try to work around it. This is more of a finishing detail anyways, really. It's not really structural, but I kind of wanted to close it off. Just clean it up a bit. Really tricky getting that grinder in there. And a quick shot of primer. Doesn't look too bad. Okay, I've got that nose cut out, and I'm just prepping the edges. This took a fair bit of fitting to get just right. It was kind of finicky. Just grinding out some tacks there that were kind of on the edge. I want this hood plate to fit flush. Got a pretty heavy bevel on that 1/4 inch plate. I've got it clamped down. Had to clamp it in 3 corners just to get it to sit flat. And now we're going to tack it in place. Had to really turn the wire speed on the welder down now that I've gone up to the 3/5 thickness wire. Another little detail that I worked on quick, that's the vacuum line for the brake booster. And it was kind of flopping around, so I put some mounting points in. Nothing fancy, I just welded bolts right to the side of the frame. Okay, this is the nose plate. Just trimming it down. For whatever reason, the hood was a lot easier. It just kind of fit the first time, but the nose plate, I had to adjust it a number of times. The trick is to, make sure you don't take off too much material. It's really hard to add it on if you cut off too much. Just checking it to the pattern. A lot of grinding. The garage floor is just black with like metal grindings. It's actually crazy the amount of metal that's building up on the floor. So this plate, there was really nothing to support it, so I had to weld these little tabs. I welded 4 tabs so it would have something to sit on. And then I found that it didn't want to stay in place, and I needed a way to clamp it. So I had to weld a bracket up on the top. And then I welded a bracket on the top end of the plate. That way I could clamp them together. Give me a way to hold it in place. Just bent those tabs out a bit to kind of get it to sit in the right position. Yeah, a little more material off the edge there, just to get it to fit right. So it was kind of the bottom driver's side corner was kind of high up, but it was just kind of warped a little bit. So I tacked the other side, the opposite side, and then I was able to clamp it down and line it up. A little bit of hammering on that edge just to try to close up the gap a bit. And now I can remove that temporary bracket for clamping now that everything's tapped in place. Few more tacks to make sure it's good and secure. Now the plan is to come back and weld everything, on a nice day where we can open up the garage door and get better ventilation. Okay, so now I'm going to go and cut this side vision port. Probably should have done this before I put the plate up, but kind of was excited to get this plate on. Just drill a hole from the corners. using the step drill, make those holes a little bit bigger. I really like those step drills, especially for sheet metal. That 1/8 is just a little bit too thick. And get in there with the zip cut, cut it out. Sparks were flying right in my face. Kind of an awkward angle. Okay, just going to clean up the edge. Got this cordless 20-volt Dewalt Grinder. Got it for Christmas last year. I like it. It's just, it goes through batteries like you wouldn't believe. It's a real power hog, but it's nice to just pull it out and not worry about the cord, especially for small little quick jobs. Okay, so I decided I was just going to go ahead and pattern that front windshield, I guess you'd call it. So I roughly cut out a piece of cardboard and then I just trace it. We just cut it down to size. Make sure everything fits. So on the version 5, it has the larger driver's side vision port and then this smaller vision port on the other side. I took measurements, but again, our dimensions are not accurate to the original, so I just used it as a rough guide. In the end, I just kind of more looked at the photos and just proportioned it so it looked, you know, even. Okay guys, we're going to wrap this video up here. We've got the hood and the nose done, and I've started patterning that plate for the front windshield. In the next video, we're going to cut that plate out and get the openings cut for the visors. Another thing we're going to start working on is the area, that kind of wheel well area that would be underneath the front fender. That's got to get all closed in, so that's going to be coming up. If you want to see more videos of Project 222, definitely like and subscribe. If you have any comments or questions, leave them below as always, and thanks for watching.